Carrie and Tommy love thinking outside the box, and so do our friends at Liberty. Liberty loans hit different. They're free thinking just like you. Find flexible loans at liberty.com.au. Eligibility criteria apply.
It's the one and only
Carrie Bickmore.
And Tommy Little.
This
Is Carrie and Tommy.
Yeah, welcome to another Carrie and Tommy podcast. You got to make sure you're following on the socials at Carrie Tommy Show. How are you guys going?
Oh, got mixed emotions today.
Do you? Why? Because?
Well, it's a huge night on the project tonight. It's
forgot.
their final episode. We're both making an appearance.
Yes, we are.
How
You
many
no
years
doubt
were you
will
on
be
the project for?
10 or something, maybe.
Was it that long?
Yeah, I think so. Was that so?
Why do you
early?
laugh? No, sorry.
Were you on that show?
Oh my
I
God!
didn't say that.
What a real setup to be slapped
I
down.
honestly didn't realise it was 10 years. That's a huge chunk of your life too.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yes.
Yes. How
It
long?
was not meant to be in any way disparaging.
I really felt it. You know, for years because I started doing the Metro whip around.
Right.
Did you know? I don't know if I've ever said this. I was so desperate to try and be on TV, do stand-up gigs, do anything I could, right? That my manager would check if they needed me in one city, and then if that spot was taken for the week, she would say, "Oh, he's going to be in this city," and I wouldn't. I would just fly to that city.
You would fly there to
Yeah.
do the 20-second Metro whip.
Yep. And
Oh
then
my
and then
God.
the fare for the what you got paid was never enough to really cover my flights.
Oh my God.
So then I would go and find stand-up clubs in that city, and I would do stand-up gigs to make enough money to get my flight back.
But I was going to say that makes me feel sad, but that is so smart because it led to you having an incredible career and a great stint on the project. So it was really smart.
I mean, I also just lived and breathed like trying to
Of
work.
course.
So it was
And
also
a lot of
fun.
people don't go to that effort, wouldn't even bother.
And I love doing stand-up, so it just meant I'd go do stand-up in another city and see friends and,
A lot of Metro Whipper people went on to do stuff, didn't they? Remember Tim Blackwell was
Yes.
Metro Whipper.
Sam Mack.
Sam Mack was Metro Whipper. Boys.
Dan Anstey is
Dan
who I'm
Anstey,
thinking about.
Hayley Pearson.
The wonderful Hayley
from
Pearson.
Adelaide. Yes.
Yes.
So many people got their start doing the Metro Whip.
Yes.
Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because we are doing something different on our show today. We are getting back Waleed, Pete, Hughesy, you and I. We're getting everybody back together for a
Yes.
special 1 hour look back at the 16 years of the project, the highs and lows, the toughest moments we had during our time on that show. It is a chat that you'll hear nowhere else, and that's coming up on our show today.
Carrie and Tommy.
Now, yesterday we had a wonderful experience. We got to sit down with some of the founding and current members of the project.
Yes.
We sat down with Waleed, with Pete, with Hughesy, who was there from the beginning, you and I, to have a bit of a chat about 16 years of the brilliant show that is the project.
Wonderful.
And a look sort of behind the curtains, behind the scenes, what some of the stuff that went down during that time that you may not have known about, that some of us were dealing with.
And Carrie, I thought we were going to exchange stories of the funniest moments on the show and things like that. And so I was a little surprised when straight out of the box, you just started with a bang.
How was it for you being the first ever Muslim on primetime TV?
That's a very complicated question because
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's typical project style. No, because I don't think about it that way. I just turn up and do the job, right? But then it becomes very quickly that. So that's why,
You honestly didn't think it, as in it wasn't as monumental a thing in your head as it was for the rest of the
No,
country.
I didn't think about that because I guess I'd been doing radio at the ABC for years before that. I was on the show every week, but I've been doing 3 years pretty much, filling in for Charlie and also appearing on it every week. And I'd done TV at the ABC. I hadn't thought about it. I was just it was an extension of what I was doing. But the thing I hadn't anticipated is when you leave a place like the ABC, where it's never about you, it's always about the issue or the story or whatever, and you go into commercial TV, you realise everything's just about you. Everything becomes about personalities. And so people jump on in these sorts of things. And I still remember that moment when I was nominated for the Gold Logie, and it was me and Lilian Chin, and we got, there was a front page story absolutely going us, and only us, out of the nominees.
For just being you.
Yeah. And it's why are these guys up for,
Right.
And as though we'd procured it in some way, like as though you get a nomination by, networking or hobnobbing or something.
You don't. I'm sorry.
And I remember there were moments like that where it's like, oh, okay, this is a real thing. Like this is becoming real, and it's all foisted upon you. It's not, you don't seek it. It's just,
But you were never on social media, though, really, were you?
No.
So that was the thing.
Thank
That was your
God.
superpower, I believe.
Yeah.
Just stay in your,
Yeah.
focused.
But you'd
I
get
might never have
emails.
made it. Yeah, I
I
would.
remember you'd say to me, like I'd say, thank God you're not on social media. And you went, yeah, but at least there's a cap per Twitter comment of 30
Yeah,
words.
yeah,
per.
yeah.
He would get emails.
Yeah,
I've
I've never spoken of this publicly, and it's not great for a commercial radio show, but having to deal with death threats and having security out the front of my house, like sometimes 24 hours, having to explain to the kids why suddenly there's this guy driving us around while we go to the zoo, but not tell them why, like all that that was very real. And this was a pretty heavy time. Like, I joined like full time in 2015.
Yeah.
So that's like the height of ISIS, and it goes right through to Christchurch probably, and then COVID. Thank God for COVID. That took the pressure off. That was heavy stuff. So it's funny. Like you asked that question. I never think about it that way, but I was kind of forced to think about it, or that was sort of forced upon me. And then there's the good side of it. Like to this day, people. If I'm at the mosque on a Friday or whatever, people will come up and they'll just talk about how much it meant to them that I was there, and they'll ask for selfies. And I'm pretty sure they haven't watched the show for however long, but they just wanted me there. So there was all that stuff that was really lovely. But yeah, I have a complicated relationship with that question. Sorry to bring the mood down, but I don't know how else
it's
to answer.
interesting.
I didn't realise it was security, honestly. I mean,
No,
that
it's-
would have been full on.
Well,
It's
is that
pretty
the
cool.
reason I noticed just one night when I was walking in my car, as we do after the show every night,
Yeah.
that a security guard came with me and I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, we need to do this now." But I never got told why.
I think that might have been why. Yeah.
Waleed was an incredible addition to the show,
Yeah.
the project. It was a great conversation with him, more with Waleed to come as well, but also Hughesy, because up next we look back at day one of the project when it was Charlie, Hughesy and myself, what that first show was like, what he was thinking at the time, and what our relationships were like back then.
Carrie and Tommy.
And if you're just joining us, earlier we sat down with Hughesy, Pete Helliar and Waleed, and Carrie, you and I, and we looked back on the 16 years that the project has been on air and all our involvement in it.
Yeah, there's going to be a full podcast of it that you can listen to across the weekend. You can find it at our podcast where you catch us. But right now we're playing you some of the bits we enjoyed that we want to share with you this afternoon. And one was a chat we had with Hughesy about what it was like those early days making the show. How many years were you there and why did you decide to leave?
I was burnt out. I was there almost 5 years, but I was doing breakfast radio. I quit breakfast radio at the same time. So we quit the Hughes and Kate show and that at the same time, went overseas with the family. And I'd had 3 kids. When the show started when my son was born, so he's now 16 and, so it's like, so I was cooked.
Because, and then how did the role come into you taking on the role?
Well, they chatted to me about a year earlier because you were maybe thinking of leaving a year earlier than you actually did. And I think Channel 10 backed up a truck at Hughesy's place and Hughesy can't say no to that. So you went and actually, even though you were telling me that you were, you weren't enjoying it as much or the street,
Me and Charlie fought a lot as well. So
you were juggling a lot as well.
Yeah.
Breakfast radio is hard to do as the only job, let alone a nighttime show as well. And I remember going out to Sydney for dinner with you to discuss the idea of me taking over from you. Because you were, I think, leaving at this point, and you tried to convince me not to take the job.
Wow.
I was tired, and it was like, but also, me and Charlie fought, Karen, me and Charlie fought a lot. We had screaming matches.
I've got to admit,
it was crazy.
this combo here was far calmer. It was far. I don't think we really ever thought about anything.
Do you know what
that
I
you guys-
remember?
Yeah.
Do you know what I remember most about that time was when I first started coming in doing the show, and I'd fill in for Charlie every now and again. How much Hughesy seemed to love me. And I'm like, what's going on here? We don't
It was
have
an ego battle between me and Charlie. There's no doubt about it. And my ego, his ego. So big egos. Both thought we were right most of the time. And yeah, look, the meetings were hard.
Those meetings.
Oh, Charlie
Yeah.
would just pause before he spoke, and then you'd have to wait. So like, God, just say it, mate. It's not You're not Winston Churchill. Just say something. We're doing a TV show.
There's nothing wrong with thinking.
To this day,
Nothing
though,
wrong.
some of the funniest things that man's ever said was in those meetings. He was so quick.
He's a very funny man. There's no doubt about that.
So quick. It was so
he's
quick. But yes,
extreme
you did have a
intellect.
lot. So you were
But
worried
we were-
about Pete taking the
I
stress of
I
it.
was exhausted, and I didn't know. But look, Pete made it his own and did a stellar job. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Straight away.
What made
so.
you then decide to ignore Hughesy and do it?
Well, I initially said no.
truck?
Well, it's a much smaller
Money
truck.
does
A
help.
much smaller
Yeah,
truck.
Some cash fell off the truck and they gave it.
They asked me to fill in for a night over summer, and I said no. I might have been up to do it for a week, actually, and I said no. I was doing like It's a Date, and I was kind of like directing and started going into a different direction and writing for TV. And Bridget said, "Why don't you just see if you like it? You know Carrie, you know Charlie, you know the production company. Just go in and see." And I did a night, and I was like, "Hughesy was wrong. This is actually really fun. This is actually I really enjoyed this. This is a fun chair for a comedian to sit in." And then the offer came, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to do it." And the first meeting I sat in, I remember just as a filling in, I do remember there was a thing where I just saw an opportunity for a joke. I said, I think it was literally like, let's replay it with Benny Hill music, and Chris Bendel, our EP, just turned to me and said, "Oh, we don't." Everyone just looked at me and we don't really do that. It's not really our style. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but okay. I thought it'd be an easy joke. But it does show you that there wasn't really that kind of style of like
evolved
segments
over
and
time.
the evolution. Which, I mean, you look at the
whole show.
Show one and hairstyles and fashion and the way
Everything.
everything evolved. Yeah, so
You do need to leave. Is there anything you want to say before you leave? Anything you want to remember? Anything you want to celebrate? Anything?
No, I want to celebrate the whole show because it's been extraordinary. It's 16 years, and again, first night I thought we might get cancelled the first night. So to go 16 years,
It's incredible.
and it will be so missed. And there's nothing else like it on TV. It's going to leave a huge hole. It actually leaves. It's going to leave an opportunity for something else to come in. I know that the Channel 10 have gone with a different direction in that slot. But there's an opportunity for something. I don't know, where or what, but definitely.
You wanting this truck to come back or what?
No.
Hughesy, we've got a problem. Hughesy, we've got a solution.
New problem.
I'm saying well done to all of you. And
Well done to you, mate.
Yeah, brilliant effort. And yeah, we'll be remembered. It's an icon, as I said, as a face. Everything now. We might as well just do everything, like just get your iPhone out and just do face to cameras and put it on Instagram. I think that's the future, to be honest. Which I said about this show, it's an icon. It's an icon, and you guys are a massive part of it, and well done to you all. And Waleed, you're still there, mate, and you've bloody been a rock for that show, and, you deserve your bloody gold logo. I wish I got one, but I didn't. But, Carrie, you deserve yours as well, and you two are bloody
Can I say
brilliant.
something about this?
Yeah.
You may not even remember, but one of the things I cherish most about that night is that you read out my name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah.
it's just, for me, like, and I'm going to say this now because you're about to go, and
Yeah.
I was going to say it later, but I don't think you guys have any idea what it was like for me to come in to a studio surrounded by proper established TV people and Tommy. And
The warm-up guy.
yeah, there were just those moments where I'm sitting there going, why am I here? How do I get to be here? And you were a massive part of that because you wouldn't even remember. You came on Salam Cafe, a show I did on SBS with a group of mates as a guest once. I still remember that. That was a highlight for us. And so suddenly to be peers, which I actually never felt I was, but just kind of to be in the same room was unbelievable honour. And I feel that now. I feel like why am I here? But the fact that the gold logo, okay, that's whatever. But the fact that you read that out that night actually
that
meant a lot to
gratitude
me.
Is, part of the reason you're bloody, so loved. So, as well as your amazing intellect. So,
Well, we'll let you catch the
Yeah,
flight,
well done.
and then
Well
we
done,
can all
everyone.
continue
Hughes.
to chat.
yeah,
about
we'll see you later on at the show.
See you
yeah?
later on at the show.
There's heaps more to come from our chat with, I'll call the stalwarts of the project, including because some personal news from both you and Waleed that you may be shocked to hear when you see people on TV that, of course, they have whole lives going on behind it, which can be happy at times, but we also work through some of the more tragic moments in life, and you'll hear some of that coming up.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
Yes, you're joining us in the middle of an hour where we chatted with Waleed, Hughesy, Pete, Tommy and I guess reminiscing, recapping, going behind the scenes of 16 years of the project.
Yes.
It is their final show tonight. It's been an incredible show, and I'm thinking of all the people on the desk tonight for their final show. We'll be popping
Including
up as
us.
well. But there were lots of tough times on that show when you make a nightly news show and you're together day in and day out, and there's pressure from networks and all the rest of it. Things can get really tough at times. And up next, coming up now, I tell Waleed about one of the toughest times I found during my time at the desk.
I've sat in my chair and seen so many people go through that comedy seat, sometimes for a week, sometimes for a night, sometimes for years. I want you guys to know, if you don't already, and I suspect you do, but there are not many who can do it. There are not many who can handle the gear changes, who can be comfortable sitting there while something serious is being discussed. Like, I've seen comedians, brilliant comedians, not a criticism of them, but like, who will immediately freeze and go, I don't know who I am if I have to talk about this or ask a question and you two, as representatives of the class, but also people at the top of the class, need to know just how remarkable that is and how incredible it is from where I was sitting to watch. Every now and again, I'd find myself in a situation where I wasn't working. I was just watching what was going on.
But I think, and I'm sure people feel the same. The same goes the other way for watching the two of you. Like, I've watched both of you in interviews as the person is saying something. I've watched you both go to a note, check that the thing that they've said is the fact that we've got, write a note about a question, wait, move in, come back in for your question, prosecute, and then watching you both do it, I don't think, and again, I don't want to throw shit at anyone, I just assumed the quickness and ease with which you moved and navigated. I'm like, oh, that's just the job. But then I watched other people come in with their fumbly, clunky hands, and I'm like, oh, nah, they're the best.
Dexterity.
I didn't realise until about 7 years what the notes were for. I was like, what are these folders for?
But it was. You made it look. You made it look so easy, and both of you were also so generous to us
thanks,
in our chair and made our
Yeah, I reckon I feel like I could have a night where I wasn't focused or I wasn't quite there, and it would be okay because I was sitting next to you guys, which is not. Yeah, I wouldn't say that with necessarily every host that we had.
But same was true in reverse.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think I used to get actually quite frustrated. I mean, I never. It's so lovely hearing you say that because and you talked about feeling like an imposter before. I never have ever felt enough. I never felt enough on that show. I never felt good enough. I never felt. It's a very strange thing to say when it was a huge part of my life, and I loved it. Like, I loved it. And I don't know whether it was about me. I don't know whether it was my own insecurities. I don't know if it was other people's projections. I don't know what it was. I don't think people realise, like, there was so many times that people would say to me, either in my ear or afterwards or on reflection, but why didn't you have something to say about that? And the frustration I would feel when I'd be like, of course I had something to say about that. But 3 people had said something about that. I knew we had a break to get to. I knew it was time now for a gear change and a bit of levity. So I choose not to say the thing that I could have said because I knew what was best in the moment for that show. And so often, I think, with everybody on that show, you don't understand what's happening, and sometimes it's not about what you want to contribute. It's about what the show needs right now, whether it needs to be lifted with some humour, whether it needs to actually pause for a moment and have something, in depth. I mean, I'll never forget the moment. I was literally, the words that I'll never forget, but I think was a turning point for me in how I felt about myself, was when the words to me were said, "Why can't you be more like Waleed?"
Did someone say that?
Yeah, and I'll never forget that. It's going to make me emotional. But the reason I'll never forget that is because I knew what they meant, because you were extraordinary and you arrived into that show and changed the game for commentary everywhere. You were extraordinary. But that wasn't my strength, nor should it have been, nor did I want that, nor did the show need that. But the problem was when something good happens, it's hard to not want everybody to be doing that good thing so we can get more of that goodness and just make it even better because we've struck gold. And it was like, no, Waleed is Waleed. I can only tan myself any more than I already do, which is a lot.
There were nights you were darker than me, that is true.
But I should never have been you. You should never have been me. We needed to be ourselves, and so often I felt I needed to be somebody else until something finally clicked in my head where I realised I just needed to be me.
We do have more of our chat with the guys coming up, including the moment that we were actually, most of us were all together in the moment we found out a star recruit was joining our team. We chat about that next.
Carrie and Tommy.
And tonight is the final episode of the project. A 16-year stint on TV is nothing to turn your nose up at. It is a show that we have loved working on over the years, and earlier we caught up with Hughesy, who I believe by this stage has had to pop off and jump on a flight, Pete Helliar and Waleed.
Right now, though, we talk about the moment Lisa arrived on the project. Women are forever in the media pitted against each other, and it was no different when Lisa arrived on the project. I haven't spoken about this until this point because anything I would ever say about this would forever have been taken out of context. And so it was nice to be able to have a chat about it within the safety of our room and with the context of what was happening at the time and how hard it was, but also so people realise it was actually nothing about Lisa and I and our relationship. It was much bigger than that. And that's what we talk about now. Lisa and I had the most fabulous professional relationship, and professional respect. And I think it was a combination of things. It was a combination of there not being enough time through the nature of how contracts work and contracts wrap up and new contracts begin. We all know how that works, that there wasn't time to catch us all up to speed. And I remember finding out minutes before a press release went out that Lisa was joining our show, which was an enormous thing for the show. It was a wonderful, enormous thing for the show.
I remember being rocked by it, and I wasn't you.
Yeah,
I mean, for you,
but I knew what was going to happen before it happened, and then it happened, which was what happens all the time in this industry because there is... because of the way sexism works, but also because there are less jobs, and it's changing. But it's hard to have two prominent women on one show at the same time. It became Lisa against Carrie, and there was article after article about the war we were at, and I was so confused because I was like, Lisa, are we at war? And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, really, because Lisa and I were never at war, but the more you read that and then the more you start to feel insecure about your own abilities and then the more you start, I remember I was was pregnant at the time and so I started not being able to do as many of the opportunities and Lisa would do them. In my head I'd be like, oh my God, am I going to have a job? All these things that I look back now on and I wish I just thought about so differently. But when you read about yourself in a certain way, and 95% of what I read about myself is not true, and so I ignore all of it then. But back then, I started to wonder whether it was true and whether my job was redundant, whether we were, in fact, at war with each other. And, her and I would laugh about it now. How ridiculous, how ridiculous the whole thing was. But it made doing the job so hard. Yeah. It made it so incredibly hard.
Yeah. Did you and her speak about that openly at the time? Because also I know you're friends now, but you didn't have a relationship beforehand, did you?
We just had this lovely professional relationship. Yep. We lived in different states. Every time we'd see each other at Logies or an event, she was so supportive of my beanie campaign that I think it was as shocking to us, each of us. And then I think you start to get confused because then I start to think, is the way she sees me different to the way I think she sees me? So we just constantly send each other messages saying, hope you're okay, thinking of you, because it was as crap for her as it was for me. There was no winners in the situation. But I remember, now I feel I do feel embarrassed to say it, but I'll never forget the night, Lisa's first night on the project. I'll never forget it because I just discovered that I'd lost a baby, that I'd had miscarriage. And I sat in front of a doctor saying, you need to have a D&C. You need to go have a D&C. And I remember the words, I can't, because Lisa Wilkinson's making her first appearance on the project tonight. Now, obviously, those words to a doctor are like, what are you talking about? And what relevance does that have to what's happening in your body right now as a woman? But for me, the repercussions of not being on air the first night Lisa was there to welcome her and to make her feel obviously welcome.
How that's going to be viewed,
but the public perception that suddenly I can tell you what it would have been. I refused to show up on her. And the repercussions of that felt so much more overwhelming than the idea of waiting. So I sat on air that night knowing that I had a baby that had passed away inside of me as I pretended to be laughing and having a great time because that was the power of the outside world on what was happening inside, which is so embarrassing. How ridiculous. Honestly, how ridiculous. If you think about it, that's so ridiculous. And mortified that they were the sorts of decisions. But that's the power of that
But also,
of
like,
pitching women against each other. Like
exactly.
That's what it does.
Like, I could have not turned up on that show and nobody would have noticed. You could have not been on that show and nobody would have noticed. But, yeah.
Because that's what the narrative
were you guys
was.
ever pitted against each
No,
other?
exactly. So, what you're saying is really sad, and it's horrifying that you went through that. I didn't know that.
But I just feel now, and I think I hope that it changes, but I think about both Lisa and I all the time, and I think what a shame. Like the power of us combined could have done some awesome shit. We never got the chance because it was always, there's only room for one woman. There's only, yeah.
I know it's probably redundant, but if you had your time again, would you do it differently and accept the more stories about the war and not going on TV?
Oh, yeah. I don't, I probably would have made the same decision again. But the me now, I don't know, because the reality is when you're going through something deeply personal like that too, I don't want to have to talk about it at the time. I just want to be able to do what I need to do, get it done, and then go and have the personal time to grieve and process all that's happening. So maybe I would do that again. I don't know.
There is a weird thing that happens in doing TV where it can exist in a different part of your brain, right? You can get, because I remember doing the show the day after my father died. And I remember, I didn't have to either. It was kind of weird, like, why would you?
No, of course. I mean, if I'd said to them what was going on, they wouldn't said, oh my God,
it's not that they're forcing you. But in a weird way, I got through it because this is not life. This is like a separate thing. But the thing that made me, that I was thinking as you were talking about that, apart from like just the obvious horror of it, is you very quickly, when you're working in any media, I think, succumb to such short-term thinking and consideration where the only thing that matters is how every moment feels so big. And so the only thing that matters is now. And you're thinking of the story that's going to be the next day. What's impossible to think of for some reason is, in 10 years, will this story matter?
Of course.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't. And imagine if you could. Like, imagine if you did. You would do a whole lot of stuff differently. But it's got this power over you because it's unlike, and I've done other jobs that are not media jobs, it's got an intensity, an emotional and psychological intensity, which is, I think, why so many people who work in media are so screwed up, because it colonizes your mind, and you can't break free of the shackles of the moment. And so you do things no sane person would say you should do, because actually you're not a sane person in that moment.
I know.
It's kind of like being in high school. You know how when you leave high school, it's such a distant memory and none of it matters. But if you try and tell a kid that's in high school, hey, school doesn't matter, and once this is good, you're not going to see any of these people. You're not going to, and trying to convince them that that's true is impossible.
So we're all just emotionally stunted.
Gosh, it's been huge chatting with Hughesy, with Waleed, Pete, you and myself about the project, 16 years of it. We've got one more bit we're going to bring you towards the end of the show before we run off to do the project tonight. And if you want to catch the full podcast, you can have a listen to it over the weekend while you're out walking the dog or doing whatever. It was a wonderful chat. I certainly enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did. As I think anything to do with the show, because it was such a big part of our lives so much, there was so many wonderful moments, but also so many things that until the 4 or 5 of us start chatting, so many things we forget.
I know. You'll hear more of that towards the end of our show today.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
Because anything you need to tell us.
I'm tired.
Oh, okay. What can we do about that?
Hold on one sec. Eli, I sent you another video that could be good. Oh, great. Sorry, just my to-do list in my head just remembered.
Your to-do list. Something. It sounds like Eli's to-do list.
No, my to-do list is...
Eli, I've sent you another thing to do. Sorry, just my to-do list.
I'm exhausted.
I saw something on the internet I don't understand, and I want to talk
Good luck,
to you about
Eli.
it. No.
Eli, that's going to be a long game. You've got to explain the internet
I don't
to Carrie.
understand it, and I want to talk to you about it, but I wanted to get Eli's approval first.
When did you turn into my auntie at Christmas? Eli,
that's how girls have conversations.
Eli, what's the internet?
No, girls have conversations where we'll be talking. We'll be having an intense conversation about something in the news, and I'll go, "Oh, did I tell you that Auntie Merrill, blah 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 blah?" And then the next thing you'll say is, "Oh, hey, what size shoe are you? I forgot to tell you that I'm getting these new kicks, and I thought I'd get you a pair too." Anyway, sorry, what were we saying about Auntie Beryl? And then you go back to Auntie Beryl, and then you go, "Yeah, I can't believe that news," and you go back to the news thing, and then you say, "You know, the other shoes that I've seen online, I really like at the moment."
It's not
That is
just
a girl
ADHD.
conversation.
I'm going to say
no,
something.
it's a girl conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to say something that's mildly controversial because, but I think women, when they get together, often they all talk and don't listen.
No, we can listen and talk at the same time,
She's
can't we, Zoe?
You can just do both.
We can do both. I can talk. You and I, if you were a woman, we could talk at the exact same time, and I could hear everything you're saying, and also tell you my thoughts on something completely different at the same
100%
time.
because, yeah.
Carrie, you don't remember things that we do on this show like yesterday.
That's because you're men. If it's my chicks, if it's my babes, I remember everything. You just need to talk about more interesting things.
Well, this is good because we're talking about you right now.
Okay.
So
Tell me more.
Is there anything? Is there anything you need to tell us about what you've been reading?
What I've been reading.
Yeah, I opened your mail.
What?
I opened your mail.
What mail? Do
There
I
were-
get mail here?
Yeah, you do. You do. There's a magazine here for you.
Actually, I got some olive oil sent to me today. I
that's-
get strange mail. That's
Well-
Chobham, is it? Cobham.
Cobham Estate. They make good olive oil. Well, maybe that is why you got the olive oil sent here because
What else did I get?
Page 68 here. The best time to masturbate.
What?
Ah.
That's what's on page 68.
What is the best time?
It's
For
now,
women or
is
men?
what it says. Now.
Now.
Yeah, it said, what are we waiting for, ladies? Now. I've already
Can't. That's
had a
really
read.
inappropriate. Sorry, what is
Stop
this?
having it delivered to work then.
This is your mail.
What is the magazine?
Let's go down to page 78, Maori New Year. Okay.
Maori New Year.
Yeah, page-
When's that?
Page 80, Matcha Tiramisu.
I'm not into
oh.
matcha. I'm not into
Tiramisu's
tiramisu
great,
Okay.
either.
but you
What about
No,
this?
I'm not into either.
Page 66, Sex with a Married Dominatrix.
Sorry, that is my mail.
Page 32, reintroducing Rico Nasty.
What's Rico Nasty?
Carrie, this
What's
is your...
Rico? Eli, what's Rico Nasty? A rapper.
Is this or is this not addressed to you? You've got a Cosmopolitan subscription that you haven't told us
I
about.
don't.
You do.
Oh, I do. It appears I do.
there
Oh,
you
who's
go.
paying for that? It's not coming out of my bank balance. It's coming out of petty cash, isn't it? No,
You
I
reckon?
pay petty cash.
Oh, well, I'm just wondering why you've got a magazine with the best time to masturbate article and then a litre of olive oil is getting delivered.
Carrie and Tommy.
You were just telling me about my mail that had been delivered to the office.
Cosmopolitan
my
subscription.
Cosmopolitan subscription, which I didn't even know I had. But you missed the more important stories here.
Well,
front
I
page.
covered what time is the best time to hoo-hoo.
Yep.
And
To be fair, Hoohoo isn't with another person.
Yeah, it
It's
was on your own.
numero uno.
solo. And the time is now, ladies. What are we waiting for? Said the article.
Well, you missed.
you're
Should
driving.
you
Don't
really
do it
be
now.
friends with your colleagues? It's an interesting one.
Oh, and what's the answer?
Well, apparently, which is interesting, the era of the work wife has officially ended. So, for so many years, everyone had their bestie at work that you bitched with, you did everything with. Apparently, COVID has stuffed that, and with people working from home so much. And as you get older, you're at different stages of life, and you can't just stay back for drinks on a Friday night or straight after work. You can't just go across to the pub. And they're saying the era of the work wife has ended.
So what do we not be friendly?
Well, I mean, I think you have to assume a level of friendship to start with to then lose it.
Does it actually say that, or is this just...
No, it says,
Gary, that was
has
so
the work
cold-hearted.
wife era officially ended?
My work wife's being a bit of a mole today.
And the other thing you missed, which I think is interesting, is
Yes.
clean beauty is out. Here's how to get grungy. Did you realise
Oh.
we're not cleaning ourselves anymore, ladies? Back to the grunge era. How do you guys feel about that, men?
Oh,
Maybe
you
that's
can-
why the work wife is over.
Yeah, and maybe that's got what time is the best time of the day to play with yourself.
I
'cause-
mean, it's a lot easier for us to not have to do that. Like sometimes I look at the schedule of things I'm meant to do to my face on any given night to make sure it's clean, and it's a full-time job between the masks and the creams and the serums and the plucking. And
When
the,
it says get grungy,
Yeah.
is it a curated grungy look, or
Apparently-
is it actually grungy?
So apparently they've noticed the trend on TikTok is going from all of the get ready with me and here's my fresh face and here's my lovely bushed out eyebrows to just a bit unkept. Unkempt.
Carrie,
Unkept.
haven't you just started doing Get Ready With Me's?
Oh, I'm always behind the trend.
When are you going to start doing Get Grungies With Me?
But this is great. This is so I don't know if you saw a fashion show recently. I can't remember who it was for.
Well, you would have seen that.
And they all came out with hair that looked like they just literally woken up, come out of bed. It was like, and that's what they went on stage.
But see, that would have
to do
taken
their-
them ages to perfect.
I think it's called Hobo Chic.
Well, apparently also, what's that look? A bit like the 70s, that's back. Boho chic is back.
What's Bohemian?
Bohemian and grunge is back. So apparently a bit of dark liner and nothing else, a bit of like hair all over the place. But
Carrie,
apparently you're meant to.
Why are you telling us about this and not doing it?
Well, I'm going to
If it's
start
back?
doing it.
When can we
You
expect?
wait tomorrow, no shower, not going to brush my hair.
And thank God, because my work wife will be unrecognisable.
Carrie and Tommy.
Now, because as you know, we have a team of thousands that work on this show, the best in the business. We've scoured the country and we've plucked the creme of the crop, and we've got them working in our slave factory here. Is that what you'd call it?
That's
Sweatshop?
putting it lightly.
Sweatshop? Yeah, yes. And I spoke to producer Sammy this morning. Now, one of the more capable members of our team. And I spoke to him about something completely different. And he said this. He goes, I've got an idea for a segment.
An idea.
Hey?
He's correcting you.
Isn't that what I said?
An idea.
I think you said a idea.
No, he said an idea.
Man,
Roll the tape.
We're getting bogged down.
I'm just trying to pad.
He's trying to get a
Stay in
punch
your lane,
in
yeah?
early
Stay
because
in
he
your
knows
lane.
what's
Roll
coming
and tape.
here.
And then Sammy just said to me, this is all he said. He goes, I got an idea for a segment, a little riddle. And I said, a little riddle. And he goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, a little riddle.
What is happening?
And that is all that happened. And then I moved on to talk about my other stuff. And then I get into work.
Do we want to talk about the other stuff?
And
What's the other stuff?
No.
Okay.
Why?
He's trying to get his punches in.
He's trying to pad. and then I get into work, and Jez, who of course works from the cave in Ipswich, doing our audio.
You know he's here now, right?
Oh my god! And he goes, hey, I've made a opener for your
An opener.
for
Sorry, I'm just speaking
for
truth.
your new segment. And I said, have ya? Give us a listen.
Ah, sheesh, he's gone and diddle it again.
Hey, diddle, diddle, Tommy Little's got a riddle. The cow jumped over the moon. Her name was Carrie. Tommy Little did a riddle, so just sidle while he fiddles. Tweaks his nipples, eats a pickle, makes you piddle with his riddles.
And I looked at Jez in the eyes and said, I don't know what this is.
What's a riddle
he said,
segment?
and he
Is
said,
that the riddle?
he said, hasn't Sammy fleshed this out with you? And
Also,
I said,
am I the moon?
no, you're the
Oh,
guy.
don't. What are you doing?
And out of the
and
studio.
cow. And cow.
And cow. Sammy, what's this meant to be?
Well, I read a newsletter every day, and they tend to have a
A
riddle.
newsletter from
Yes,
who?
it's an
I
online.
think it's an newsletter.
Oh, hang on a
No,
sec.
it's a newsletter.
Yeah, I know.
I'll give him a shout out.
Oh my God.
You guys probably wouldn't have heard of it because it's a bit of an age gap, but the Daily Oz, they do an online newsletter
We're
every day.
aware.
Oh, bro.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I didn't know we were spruiking our favourite newsletters. God, the list will be. I won't be able to get through all mine.
Anyway, every Wednesday they do a riddle, and I like them, and I was like,
Give us one.
well, that's why I thought we'd do this segment. And when
So
I spoke
go.
to Tommy on the
Yeah,
phone.
off you go. So enough about why, you
Yeah.
know, like
No,
what the
no.
segment is. Just start doing it and
Yeah.
we'll see if it's a
Oh,
segment.
shoot, okay, let me get this up.
Open your newsletter.
All right. When
So,
John.
so you're just bringing something from a newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the way I curate content from Instagram. You're
fair,
curating
it
it from
is
your newsletter.
kind
But I don't think he's curating. I think he's just taking the one because you said there's only one a week.
I did change the wording to like suit your level of intelligence. So it's a bit more simple.
Did you miss the word intellect there?
I said intelligent.
Okay. You just took a while getting to it.
Yeah, I did. I was like, what smart word?
Yeah.
All right. When
Okay.
John,
Newsletter boy.
when John was 6 years old, he hammered a nail into his favourite tree to mark his height. 10 years later, he returned to see how much higher the nail was. If the tree grew by 1 centimetre
Oh, I
each year,
hate these
Oh my gosh,
so
Carrie.
much.
let me finish. If the tree grew by 1 centimetre each year, how much higher would the nail
Who
be?
I
cares?
don't think it'd be any higher.
Why?
I think trees grow from the top.
Well done. He's done.
Is this a segment?
Yeah. Let's do
I
a
mean,
week.
But what do we do for the
to be
rest of the
fair,
time?
to be fair, if you hadn't chipped in, I would have spent a good 4 minutes trying to work that out.
Wood chips?
Pardon?
Is that your closer? Is that your big out?
I just thought it'd be
Same time next week?
Can we actually? Of
course.
No.
Yay!
Carrie and Tommy.
Have you seen the viral meal trend where they call it the marry me something? So marry me chicken, whatever, marry me
No.
pasta.
I have.
Well, it's not a trend. It's just a recipe name that they reckon make this for a guy and he'll marry you in a second.
Okay.
What would be your marry me dish? What would a woman make for you that you would be like, she makes that for me, she's the one?
Anything.
Nah, that's not true.
What do you mean?
What if someone
I'm
served
so
you
happy being cooked for.
Yeah.
grilled
it's tricky.
fish and veggies? You'd go, oh, keep up.
Oh, it's the old it's the old marry me sardines.
Sammy's nodding his head. You'd like that, would you?
Oh, that's you. I didn't know you were joking. I was like, that's epic.
You want grilled fish and vegetables
Yep.
as
With
your.
some steamed vegetables, bit of potato,
That would make you
some
fall for a woman.
nice piece of salmon,
Salmon's different to
snapper,
a bit of fish.
barramundi,
Yeah.
you name it.
Oh, yeah.
Salmon's a bit more. Yeah.
You- Really? Because you mocked me for a long time about making salmon for
No,
a date.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying salmon is different to a bit of fish. I'm thinking white fish with veggies. They're just two different things.
Isn't that better?
No, I think salmon's a bit more la-di-da.
Oh, okay.
I think anything that takes any
Effort.
time is wonderful.
I think comfort food to a certain extent as well. Like Kaz makes rosé pasta, which I don't fully understand.
Is that like
But
vodka pasta but rosé?
It's like creamy red sauce,
Yum.
but it's spicy and it's got some.
She's
kind
making
of
that
cured
marry me
meat.
pasta.
Yeah.
Well, you are going to marry her,
Yeah,
so it
it's
worked.
worked.
Can I ask you the flip side question? What's a divorce me meal?
Ooh.
No meal.
No meal. But if you're saying what's the ideal thing
Yes.
someone can make you?
Yes.
If someone made you something on a date, is it what you said before, the grilled fish?
So, annoyingly, my answer would be similar to yours, that if someone even bothered to make me something, if it was terrible, it's the thought of it that would still make me think that was a kind
But
gesture.
when I said that, you said it was boring.
I know.
I also think you can make.
If you ask me what my marry me dish would be,
I wasn't.
I know. Well, I'm trying to participate in the conversation.
But I'm interested in your answer of the least favourite one.
No,
first,
but I don't
and
think
then
there's
I'll get to-
anything someone could make me where I'd go, that's so gross, I want to divorce you. I just wouldn't. It
But
would be
I
if they
think
said, here's no meal, I didn't bother to make you one. That's where the divorce
What about the
happens.
grilled fish thing that you seem to be quite...
No, that wouldn't make me divorce them. That's not making me fall in love with them.
okay,
grilled
what's your
fish.
marry me one?
I think anything slow-cooked meat related.
A marry me... If someone made me a marry me coq au vin, I would
What's a
be...
coq au vin again?
It's like a...
That feels very, yeah.
It's a French chicken...
What's in it?
Oh, is it a spatchcock?
It's not a spatchcock. It's not a spotted dick before you move on to further questions.
Okay.
You know beef bourguignon, like a beef stew.
Yep.
It's a chicken version of that. So chicken and white wine.
That sounds delicious.
It's more fun to say, but it's
A coq au vin.
Coq au vin.
Yeah,
Beef
I think I
bourguignon.
like a lamb, a slow-roasted lamb, something.
Oh, like a lamb shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, any kind of ragu. Get around me, please. How good.
Marry me, ragu.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
Do-do, 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 do-do.
Is this me? Finally, the bride's getting a day in the sun. Is
No,
that-
it's Bezos and Sanchez. The wedding of the century. Does anyone care? I'm not. Do you care? So I don't really care about the Sanchez Bezos.
Oh, maybe that'll be their couple name.
Jeff and Dirty.
Jeff and Dirty.
Jeff and Lauren.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, so funny. Jeff and Lauren versus Bezos and Sanchez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, they're getting
Jeff and Lauren. You going to Jeff and Lauren's wedding?
in Venice.
Jeff. It's even, I mean, that's even a funny chat for people who knew them back in the day. You know who's a billionaire now?
Jeff.
Jeff.
But it's the same with Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark.
versus like the Zuckerberg's what makes it.
And,
Yeah.
and even if someone said, hey, give us a list of some of the most powerful people in the world. Well, there's Mark.
There's
and
Donald.
Jeff. Donald.
Anyway, it is the wedding of the century this weekend.
Who said that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get to the song, the back-to-back Marry Me song we have. But I thought I'd tell you who's rumoured to be going to this week.
Give us a guest list.
So
Carrie.
all the Kardashians are rumoured to be going. Oprah Winfrey is rumoured to be going with Bestie Gayle, obviously, because they don't do anything apart.
Do you think he's paying them?
To come? No, I reckon they just all hang in the same circles,
You reckon?
the money
Who
circles.
is Leo on that list?
Leo's not, but there is a rumour that Leo has
'Cause
been invited.
I was going to say, I reckon that could be our answer to whether or not they're paid, because I've seen that interaction between Jeff and Leo, and Leo did not want a bar of chatting to Jeff, and Jeff was very keen to chat to Leo.
Do you think Leo would be taking money to go to weddings? Is he at that point in his career?
Sorry, I don't reckon.
The appearance fee.
I don't reckon he'd go unless he was paid. That's why I was asking. Is he on the list?
Well, apparently they've had to move the event because of protesters.
We've got Eli has busted into the studio.
Yes.
Sorry, in relation to Leo, like we mentioned yesterday, in our back-to-back, apparently it's rumoured that him and Orlando blew Micah bar hopping post the wedding festivities.
Because Orlando
they're now
is no
supposedly
longer
single.
going with Katie, which I still don't know. Anyway, yes. Right.
Imagine being at a bar and Leo rocks in.
But Leo and Orlando rocking.
Oh, no. If Orlando is in the room, if Leo's in the room, Orlando's not in the room. Who cares?
I don't think Leo now, if Leo's in the room. I think Leo back in the day.
You
Leo now.
just don't like that he beds much younger women.
I think it's all he's just not got the same. Whereas Orlando's got.
If Leo,
wait, are we talking looks or charisma? Because looks-wise, Orlando way better at the moment.
I agree.
But charisma,
I'm talking rarity.
Oh yeah, rarity. Okay.
I reckon everyone's had a drink with Orlando. Not many
haven't.
people. I've had a drink
haven't.
with Orlando.
Have you?
Yeah.
Where?
Nah.
Carrie and Tommy.
It's Carrie Bigmore and Tommy Little.
Same, but backwards.
It's your primitive is when he had
Why are you whistling?
It's getting close.
I'm bored already. We haven't even done this segment.
I don't think I can whistle.
You can. We've talked about this. Remember, I lost my whistle for a while, and you could whistle fine.
Whoa.
Oh, I still lost my whistle.
I've always wanted to have a good
like a
tradie whistle. Oh, that's so good, Jesse.
I've always wanted to be able to do the fingers in your mouth
wolf
whistle.
whistle.
One. I can't do that.
Do that again. Jesse's doing that with no hands.
You're coming in, not out.
No, that's out.
No, aren't you breathing it in?
Where do you put your tongue?
Oh.
Teach me mouth things, Jesse.
I don't know how to teach mouth things. I don't know how to do mouth things.
Oh, why can't I whistle still?
I've been told I can't whistle. Apparently,
try.
I just blow air.
Yeah. No, that's a whistle.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like mine.
Oh, I got told mine was crap.
I've still lost mine. Remember, I was going to write a kid's book about the little girl who lost her whistle.
Lots of dogs are listening now. All right, the score is 9-7.
And Carrie, you just buzzing with your whistle?
Oh, yep.
I can't. Why is it gone?
Are we buzzing with whistles?
Yeah, just whistles.
Hold on.
Try suck.
Shh.
Just sounds like a draft.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. That's your buzzer. You ready?
No, I can't. That can't be my buzzer.
That's your buzzer.
Okay.
What about that?
Oh.
Stop showing off all your mouth things.
I whistle my thing.
I can't do any noises.
I love how you were trying to upgrade even though you couldn't do the first one.
Okay.
Song number 1.
I'm trying, but I'm not making
Yeah,
noise.
it's hard to know which one she's buzzed in,
I
but I'm going to
can't
assume
make
it's
my
Tommy
whistle.
because I heard a whistle.
What is it?
3, 2.
It's oh my god,
1.
Tommy. It's Bruno Mars.
Oh.
Damn it!
Can you do it? Fell in love
my
with
God.
Friday.
It is. What do you use your buzzer?
It
Use
is
your buzzer.
whistle. It is Oh My God by
3, 2, 1.
Usher.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't think that sounds like an Usher song.
No, I don't either.
So that's a bit of trickery from your end.
Yeah, sorry.
Or from him.
Song number 2. It is One Zip to Bickers.
Tommy.
Tommy.
It's Eminem Without Me.
I love Eminem.
Do
Not
ya?
the person, just the music.
Why not?
I'm yet
What's
to
the
hear an
difference?
Eminem song I don't like.
Why not the person?
I don't know much about the person.
Oh, you're scared to say you love him in case there's things you don't know about him.
Yeah, I don't really know about him. I'm like I've told you, my childhood, I loved music, but never really knew even what the singers looked like.
That's such a lie.
It's not.
Didn't you say you had posters of them
So,
on the wall?
Spice Girls, I loved and knew what they looked like. But most singers, to be fair, the same reason I didn't know about
have
Fleetwood
TLC?
Mac and that Fleetwood Mac's lead singer,
Oh.
what's her name? Stevie Nicks she was the lead singer because I'd never seen what they looked like. I just loved their music. I listened to the radio in my bedroom while I studied all day long, but I never used to watch the TV like the video hits or rave. I just listened to it. Rage. Anyway, mock me all you like. That's where my love of radio began.
Thank you for the free pass.
1-1.
What's that mean?
To mock you all you like.
Oh,
What did you think it meant?
no.
Song number 3.
Start the mocking.
Whistle.
Carrie.
It is Feel It Coming the Weekend.
2-1 to Bickers. This is For the Win, song number 4.
Whistle.
Oh, I was in.
I did hear a whistle before I heard the word whistle. Tommy?
It is Sean Paul Temperature.
No! Oh, Carrie.
Can you play it again?
No, because you buzzed in.
Oh, it's Sean Paul.
2.
Moves.
Is it Get Busy?
It is Get Busy. This is song number 5. Tommy can tie it up, which means he takes the points this week. So, Carrie, you can win it here. Oh, yes.
Pussycat Dolls buttons.
Yeah.
Eli's just cheats for you every week now.
It's so up.
What do you mean? I knew that one.
Yeah, he still does it every week.
What? God, you're miserable.
Oh, she's got it.
Yeah.
Carrie and Tommy.
We're about to run off and do the final project. After 16 years tonight, we're making an appearance.
Yes.
But earlier on the show, we had Pete, Waleed, and you and I, and Hughesy popped in as well to discuss 16 years of the project. You'll catch that across the weekend on our podcast. The full podcast is going up. You can hear that whole conversation. But right now, here's how that conversation wrapped up. Things got a bit emotional. The love started pouring out. We will leave you with this gift as we now make our way to the project. So much of the show was pure joy.
Yeah.
And every night, like, what a gift. Like, I mean, I will, that show will forever probably be the greatest on-air job I've ever done in my entire career, ever, outside of this radio show, obviously. But I mean, on TV, it was monumental in my life. It was monumental in yours, like monumental in all of our lives. And I think we'll all forever be grateful for it. But I think everyone can get lost in the gloss of what you see and realise, you know, everyone, even making the show, everyone's just got their lives going on, and some of it was really tricky. There was real highs and real lows.
It's designed for that, right?
Yeah.
And it's never as glamorous as it looks. But you know,
Oh, I had some pretty glamorous moments.
how did it?
Yeah, I went to Hong Kong to hang out with The Rock.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to LA.
Is that when he
he
called you the? Is that when The Rock called you the Pebble?
The Rock and the Pebble? Yeah.
No. But yeah, we are forever grateful. We're grateful for the team that make it and made it every night and gave us the opportunity. You know, I just... Yeah, it's going to be really missed. And I think about all of you on there now. Like, how's everybody feeling? It's a huge, like, the last few weeks have been the most amazing shows because you've been recapping things, but also doing it all while dealing with the sadness that it's ending must have been so hard.
Yeah, it's actually it's weird because it's probably masked how hard this will all be because you're still doing the show. So there's an element of one foot in front of the other as you walk towards the edge of a cliff, and that's a very strange feeling. The hardest moments are definitely in at the office, but they're not on air. So
those shows have been. I mean,
once
you
we're
and
on air,
Sarah
we're
and
just
George,
having fun, right?
Yeah.
And also, they can't stop us doing things now. So we're just like Sam wants to wear a ridiculous shirt, no one's going to stop him, right? And whether it works or not is immaterial all of a sudden. And there's an incredible, it's like part of you is just going, well, that's the way we should have done the show from the beginning. But it's hard because you're worried about consequence. When there's no consequence, amazing. But the hard bit is going into the studio and locking eyes with a producer you've worked with for, 10 years and going, this will never happen. The collection of people.
Oh,
I had this
so
moment the
beautiful.
other day after the show, after Tuesday night's show with Kate Lanebrook, right? Her last show. And we're in the makeup area after the show and we just stared at each other. And I just said, I don't know what to say. And when we eventually got round to talking, it was, in what other world, in what other forum do we share the airwaves?
But it might be the beginning of you sharing the airways in different... Like, I thought that when I spoke to you the other, and we do have to wrap up now, but when I spoke to you the other day when, I'd heard it was over, I mean, I can only think of less than a handful of times I've ever seen you cry or heard you cry, and you were really, really upset. And I hope, I know it's been a week of fun shows and everything, but I hope you have the support you need post Friday night, because the come down of being on something that magical, I just think it'll be really hard. And I think it's only the beginning of the incredible stuff you're going to do. Like, you know, it's all very well for us to say, oh, mate, you're going to be absolutely fine, because you are going to. But I understand for you, it's just a huge thing. And I just hope you take a moment, and the rest of the team and Sarah and everybody, to realise just, how amazing a job you guys have done.
It's been made easier by the fact that I know that come August I'll be replacing Tommy on this show. That's helped.
Carrie and Waleed.
Everything you say is right, and I will reflect on all that.
Yeah.
But you know when you hear footballers retire and they go, what are you going to miss? And they always say the people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up, it's the premierships. That's what it's playing at the MCG. And now I go,
Yeah.
oh, they're right. And I went through that when you guys left. Like, there was that was all quite sudden to me.
Yeah.
I knew about you leaving a bit longer than Pete, and I'm like, oh my God. And I had to go through a grieving process of
But
all
I
that.
hope
And
we
it'll
are
be the
proof
same
that
for
life
you.
does go on, and there'll never be anything like it. We'll never get to do what we did as a combo, all of us again, but we are very grateful for it, and I'm very thankful for your friendships as well. Lifelong friendships,
And
mate.
thanks for having me.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
Follow Carrie Bickmore and Tommy Little on socials at Carrie Tommy Show.
Bye.
Bye. Carrie and Tommy is signing off. But if you're ready to kick off your next big idea, it helps to think a little differently. Liberty Loans hit different. They're free thinking, just like you. Find flexible loans at liberty.com.au. Eligibility criteria apply.